I've actually never done that before. Like missing bags, that's like the OG hustle that I ever had. I don't think you understand how much joy this has brought me. So I kind of just did this for me and for my joy. Okay, clearly I live on the highway. Anyway, so this video, first of all, hi, it's Simone Michelle. Welcome back to the channel. I've actually never done that before. My channel is about travel, and if it's not travel, it's me trying things, making things, sewing things, drilling things. This particular video is about my gym bag. Oh my gosh, like like this bag has brought me so much joy. Anyways, let me give some backstory. First of all, I've been a creator, maker. I work with my hands. I've always been the DIY girl. But before I was a DIY girl, I was the bag girl. Like in high school, I used to make pencil cases, beach bags, headbands. Like I was sewing little things, and I took that from high school into like university as like my hustle. Even when I went to Bahamas for my internship, like I carried my sewing machine with me and I was making bags in my apartment in Bahamas and selling bags. So I was saving my stipend from my internship and using my bag money as spending money. So when I say like bring back the bags, like missing bags, that's like the OG hustle that I ever had, and I took it serious. Like I used to have a little spreadsheet with all the fabric options that I had, and then it was like A to D, 1 2 3 4. You would choose B3 because you wanted that fabric, and then the bags would be in another spreadsheet, and it would be choose style A2 because that's the style you want in this fabric. And like I was organized. I was sending out emails. Like this is from like, I don't know, 2009. I don't know, long time. No, before that, 2009, 5. Anyways, I was in high school. I was 15 years of age. That's all I remember. And this was my hustle. This is what, like, I used to save up my little lunch money and go to the fabric store and buy ugly fabric, cheap fabric. And I would buy puff paint and I would put my friend's name on it. I would draw a design on it, and like that was literally like my hustle all of high school. So to be back here making bags, and if you remember, I had made my bag for Frenchmen. I made this bag for Frenchmen for New Year's, and everybody was like, oh my god, is missing bags coming back? And honestly, I didn't really plan for it, but this bag has really like brought me joy as well. I feel like I might do a line of these, like simple, elegant. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. Anyways, not why we're here today. So missing bags really making a comeback 2024, and like that was never the plan, but I really needed a gym bag. Like I was using a duffel bag, like, you know, like a random store bag, and I just flung like my gym stuff in there. It's just that like I had a yoga mat, and the strap for the yoga mat popped, and how long I said I just give make a strap, I don't make a strap. And so I was carrying the bag, I was carrying my mat on top of the bag, which was just so cumbersome, and like sometimes the bag would get stuck on things, the mat would get the mat would drop out, like it just wasn't working, and I was just like losing my mind. Anyways, so I decided I was going to make this gym bag. So here we are. I'm gonna give you like a brief look at it and then go through the process of making the bag, and then show you all the features of my beloved gym bag. So this is it. You know, if you know me, you know pink is not my color. Mind you, I'm in a pink top, but I'm not a pink girl, but I'm a teal girl, a turquoise girl, and this combination of color is like out of this world. It's just so vibrant, so bright, it's so me. This is actually the colors I use for Shady Beach and sometimes for Missing Beach Babes. So I guess it's not totally not me, but pink is like, when I showed my mom the bag, she was just like, pink is not your color though. And And I'm like, I know, but this is the fabric I had, and it's a perfect material for it. It's kind of a nylon, waterproof, water resistant type thing, and it's just perfect for a gym bag. So yeah. I also incorporated this leatherette, the turquoise leatherette for the strap, so it's a little sturdier. I also use that on the bottom of the bag so that it would be a little easier to clean. Then I have this pocket here for my yoga mats, which was essential. Like, I needed this. This is my favorite part. I have this side pockets with like these drawstrings, which I can stick my bottle, my phone, my keys, whatever. Like, my favorite part. And I have this little strap here, which I would use if I was going to create a one strap like a regular duffel. We have our zip, and then I made this pouch to put my stuff in. I have a D-ring and hook on there, and then also I don't know what you call this, like a key string or whatever, and I have my gym pass thing on there. So this is something that like you can put in your bag to hook your keys, or you know, that kind of thing. Same concept. This is stitched into the bag. And yeah, so let me show you how I made it. Okay, so I gathered all my materials, the neoprene, the nylon, and the mat. I went in without a pattern. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew I needed it to fit my mat. Okay, so I used those measurements to cut out the fabric on the fold, which means I basically double the fabric and then cut it out. Now, you know, this bag wouldn't be my bag without some turquoise. I used leatherette to cut out what would be the base of the bag. Then, based on the measurements of my yoga mat, I used the nylon to cut out what would be the pocket for the mat. Then I took each side of the bag and placed it along the base of the bag, basically sandwiching the turquoise with the pink on either side. Then I marked notches in the base of the bag, marking the center front, center back, and the center side seams. Then I cut out the neoprene to match the pink, which would basically back the sides of the bag. Going forward, if I was to make this bag again, I definitely wouldn't use neoprene. It's far too stretchy and it's not very stable, but it's what I had and I wanted to use what I had already. Otherwise, you could use something like wadding or batting, anything that's a little thick, or anything that you could probably use for quilting. Ironing is a step in sewing that I always skip, but this time I said let me just do it properly. I also used the iron to kind of crease the fabric to mark where I was going to stitch. I didn't really use those guidelines to a T, but it was good to kind of have an idea where the center was, and just a very vague guideline to pretty much just divide the bag relatively equally. Then I pinned the nylon to the neoprene, which was very important because the nylon doesn't stretch, but the neoprene does. Found the right shade of pink for the fabric. Okay, now for the fun part. I really enjoyed this because I was just stitching the nylon to the neoprene, but I knew that this was when the quilting vibe would come alive and it would just literally take the bag to a whole new level. Okay, so at this point I decided I was not going to do straight lines. I was just going to do very wavy, curvy, organic lines. Miss Sim 2024 actually has a lot of this represented in a new collection. Like, I just realized, I don't know if it's just the vibe I'm in, the phase I'm in, I don't know the era, what it is, or it's just very nostalgic, I don't know. But everything I'm doing has very organic bold lines, bold colors, and just not like, nothing is static, nothing is boring, nothing is too stiff. Feel me? Here I'm just hemming the sides for the slip pocket for the yoga mat. Then I stitched it in place to the bottom of the bag before I added the base of the bag. Then I put my yoga mat in the pocket just to kind of get an idea of how it would fit. I gave it quite a bit of extra room because I didn't want to struggle too much to get it into the pocket. And then I pinned that in place, cut off the excess, and then I'm going to stitch along that line. Here I'm hemming a piece of fabric to create a pocket and then pinning it in place and then stitching it to the opposite side of the bag. I cut a small diagonal cut on the edge of the pocket and then folded it over and stitching it in place to create the actual pocket. Okay, so now that both sides of the bag has been finished with their respective pockets, I went ahead and pinned the base of the bag to the base of the pink. This is essentially adding the sides of the bag to the base of the bag to create one long piece of fabric. Then I went on a machine and stitched everything in place. Okay, so now I'm cutting a piece of fabric to pretty much flank my zip in order to attach it to the bag. The zip I had was way too short for the bag, but it's all I had, and so I pretty much used a piece of the pink to fill the gap that I would have had based on the length of the zip versus the length of the bag. So basically, all that extra fabric that you're seeing here at the end of the zip is what is filling the gap. Essentially, if I did not do that, there would be that entire 6-inch space between the end of the zip and the side of the bag. That makes sense? So essentially now we have the front of the bag, the back of the bag, the top and the bottom of the bag. I'm pinning that in place, but before I stitch it all together, I'm going to create straps and place that before I complete that entire seam. Okay, so now I'm squaring up my leatherette in order to cut the straps. I went with a 3-inch wide strap and I want to say maybe about 18-inch or 20-inch drop. Then in order to finish off the strap and incorporate both the pink and the turquoise, I cut a piece of nylon that was slightly wider than the leatherette and I pretty much just turned it over and hemmed it onto the leatherette itself. Then I figured out where I wanted the straps to land on the bag. And then I placed the turquoise side towards the right side of the outside of the bag. Following? I made sure the straps were the same length and they matched the placement on both sides of the bag. Then I stitched everything together. Then I cut off all the excess fabric because I knew I wanted to pipe those exposed seams to make sure it had a much more finished and secure look. When I was doing this, I said, well, my mother would be so proud of me because I know she hates an exposed seam and I know she would think this is so neat. So basically just used a piece of the nylon which was probably like about an inch wide, and I folded it over onto the seam in order to create a piping. So this is the exposed seam and this is the piped seam. If a circle has a circumference of 18.5 inches, how much is the diameter? Anyways, I end up just putting it in Google because Siri never really helped. So I pretty much needed to find out what the diameter of the side of the duffel bag would be based on the opening. And actually I ended up doing it wrong because I measured basically just I actually measured the diameter and not the actual circumference. But I quickly realized that it was obviously far too small when I realized that my circle was like 5 inches wide. I was so annoyed with myself because I almost immediately realized the error in my ways. Stay in school, kids. Anyways, I pretty much realized what I needed to do, and I just made my radius twice the size of what I originally cut, which would now have made my diameter twice the size, which have then made my circumference the actual size that I needed. So after I cut out one piece that was actually the correct size, I went ahead and cut out 3 more pieces because I knew I wanted to do the quilting effect on the sides of the double bag as well. Okay, so now it's time to get crafty. Because the neoprene was so stretchy and not very sturdy, I decided that I wanted to use a towel, which would give me the thickness for the quilted vibe and also a little more structure because it's a little thicker. And by the time I quilted everything, it would actually be a lot more firm than what I did with the neoprene. I also decided that I wanted to do pockets on the side, and so I cut that out, kind of pinned it to see what it would look like. Then I'm now sandwiching the towel in between 2 layers of the nylon, pinning all of that in place to now do the quilted stitching vibe on the machine for the sides of the bag. This was really fun. I kind of just let the sewing machine guide itself whichever way it wanted to go, just to create this very organic again vibe. Then I hemmed the pocket and I added a channel for the drawstring. I also wanted the quilted effect on the pockets itself. So this is 2 layers of nylon and I'm going to do the same organic stitching all over the surface of the pocket. I decided to do the drawstring on a whim, very last minute on this project. And when I tell you that this is like my most favorite part of the bag, the drawstrings I have for another project. And I mean, it is just so perfect. The turquoise, the shades of turquoise with the pink. Chef's kiss. Okay, so now that the drawstrings were through the channels of the pocket, I pinned those in place and then I'm going to pin that to the actual side of the bag. Then, because the fabric is getting so thick and heavy, I serged the edges to also reduce the fuzz and frill from the towel. See it here now, this is when the bag has come to life. Putting the size of the duffel bag into the actual bag really kind of just, it blew me away. I know I did the math and I know I did the measurements and I know I did what I needed to do. But it's the first time I was making a duffel bag. And I was just kind of going off of pictures on Pinterest. So like for it to work out this well, I was shook. So basically I found the 4 corners of the side of the bag, which is essentially the 4 center points. And then I found the 4 center points of the bag itself and I pinned the side of the bag with the matching center point of the actual bag. Gladiator, you know.
So I added a leatherette strap to a D-ring, which I would probably use down the line for a single strap for the duffel bag itself. I may or may not do this, but I thought it was good to add it now just in case anyway. So I put that where it needed to be, and then I stitched the sides of the bag to the bag itself. I did the same piping treatment for each of the sides here with the exposed seams. This is a lot more challenging because it's way more fabric plus the thickness of the towel. But I feel like if a point that needed to be secured this way, it would have had to be the side seams. And then finally, I did a treatment on the straps to kind of like stitch them together to make them a little less bulky and kind of made it a little bit more finished.
And that is how I made my gym bag. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and drop a pink heart in the comments. Okay, so this is the gym bag. Like I mentioned before, it has my slip for the yoga mat, which you just roll up and roll in. I think I could definitely, not think, I will definitely use this as a regular duffel bag, like for travel out or weekend bag, overnight bag kind of vibes. Like I mentioned, the strap is leatherette. It is very sturdy, would be easy to clean. This material is also pretty easy to clean. Well, this is something that I think made the bag like go from just a regular bag to like the ultimate store-bought looking thing. I did the quilting on the video, as you can see, with the neoprene in the background for a little sturdiness, and I just did this like random design on there. I did the same thing on the pocket and on the side just for a little more sturdiness and durability. This is my favorite part of the bag, the drawstring. Like, it's so good. You know, you just pull it tighter for your bottle or whatever. I just love that feature so much. And then we have our buckle or D-ring for a strap, and we have a pocket here, which I'm gonna put Velcro on. I just don't have any. A pocket on the outside, which is just easy access if you just want to slip your phone in there when you're, you know, on the way to the gym or whatever, like anything, keys, whatever. This is the opening. I used a rugged zip. It's actually a separating zip, but the way I enclosed it in the fabric, in the seams, it pretty much doesn't separate. Like a jacket zipper, basically. This is a random pouch I had. And I had put my knee sleeves and regular straps that I wouldn't normally use as often. I'd put it in here just to have. And then this is the pouch, which has my gloves and my resistance bands and my barbell clamps. I mean, like, my whole gym persona is this color bag. As you can see, the neoprene in here. And then I have my barbell padding, which I actually only use for hip thrusts, and my knee brace. As I mentioned, a key strap and my gym fob. Easy access, I know where it is. And that is the overview of my gym bag. But it's super roomy. Like, I feel like I could absolutely pack like at least 5 days in here. If I'm being like really strategic, I know I could fit 5 days of clothes in here. Like, this is absolutely a weekend bag. I'm going on a trip next weekend, and I feel like I might carry it just to see how it travels. We're gonna see how she travels. I don't think you understand how much joy this has brought me. Somebody said that this is the happiest they had seen me. Like, I need to go make a bag every weekend. And everybody's asking me to make these and sell them, and honestly, like, I don't know, I kind of just did this for me and for my joy. A part of the reason why this video is recorded in Reels TikTok format is because I find that when I'm doing my creative work, the creative work that I enjoy the most, so like sewing, and sewing is relative. Sewing has to be sewing a project that I want to sew, right? Sewing or resin or pottery, like it's very hard for me to record these things for content. Like it's a lot, like because I get so engrossed in the process. And like this, making this bag, like I didn't have any pattern, I didn't have any direction, just, you know, like I genuinely get so engrossed in the process that it's hard for me to really like stop and record everything, especially recording for TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And like I just want to create. And I don't know if anybody has been seeing like my little thing every weekend. It's like create every day. I just want to create something every day, whether it be create a schedule, create a bag, create a skincare routine, just create. Like I just feel like a very big part of my joy is creating, and I love to share that, but like sometimes you get so engrossed in the process that like you just don't think about that part, the recording part. Anyway, so this is my bag. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Show everybody this video and let me know what else I should make. And don't tell me more bags, don't tell me more gym bags. I'm not selling them yet, guys. But let me know what you think I should try. So yeah, like, share, comment and subscribe to By Simone Michelle.